Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari 8-bit games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today's game is Questron, which was a 1984 release from Strategic Simulations Incorporated, better known as SSI, who at the time were a wargaming company that would go on to become famous for its digital adaptations of Dungeons & Dragons. And this is quite an interesting game because it was their first ever role-playing game. And it's very similar to Richard Garriott's Ultima series. In fact, it was so similar to Richard Garriott's Ultima series that there were some legal issues. But SSI and Garriott settled out of court eventually, with SSI agreeing to license both the game structure and the game style from Garriott himself, and providing Garriott's company Origin Systems with a percentage of royalties from the game. This actually ended up being one of SSI's fastest selling early games, selling 35,000 copies in North America, which was more than triple the average sales of the war games they'd been putting out up until that point. Reception was a bit mixed though. Analog magazine described it as a meaningless Xerox copy of Ultima, but admitted it would make a good first or only edition of a role-playing game to your collection. And Electronic Gaming magazine meanwhile praised it for its similarities to Ultima, and again noted that it would be a good introduction to role-playing games for newcomers. So, I've never played this, I don't know how well it holds up, but I'm quite interested to try it. And also we're running out of games beginning with the letter Q, so this was going to come up at some point. Let's go play Questron.
Okay, you join me as we are loading Questron, which is probably the most substantial game for Atari 8-bit that we've covered on this series. So this is going to be tricky to cover, and I'm not going to promise to demonstrate a whole lot about this game or anything in a great amount of depth, because this is a fairly large role-playing game. It's obviously not quite on the scale of some of the stuff we get today, but it's still pretty sprawling. So there's going to be a limit to how much I could show you today, because as with a lot of early role-playing games, there's a bit of grinding required, and there's a lot of random chance and all sorts of things. You'll see as we get to it. So here we are, Questron, hit key to continue. Right, on this initial menu here, you have the option of Scenes from Questron, which just shows you some places on the map for some reason. Some simple instructions, which are very literally some very simple instructions. There are other keys that come on a reference card that come with the game. If you're tracking down a copy of this online, do note that there is a manual that contains a lot of sort of thematic background colour and information on monsters and story and that sort of thing. And then there is a separate reference card that actually has the key commands on it as well. So you'll need to seek that out separately if you want to actually figure out how to play this game properly. Most of the key commands are fairly intuitive, in that they take the sort of what we can think of as the roguelike approach of saying the first letter of the command you want to do, like W for where and that sort of thing. But yeah, if you're not aware of some of those commands, it's worth looking into. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Right. Down at the bottom there, we can see game structure and style used under license of Richard Garriott. Spelt wrong, I think. I think there's two T's in Richard Garriott, but whatever. Anyway, that was the result of the sort of legal questions between SSI and Origin Systems when this first came out. Right, play a game. Start a new character. Enter the character's name. And then it takes a moment, and then it saves your character file onto this first disc of the game, which is the disc that you boot the game from, but it also has all your save data on it as well. You can store up to 4 characters on this disc. If you want more characters for whatever reason, presumably you can just copy this disc and have separate characters on there, or you can just delete characters that were already on here as well. Right, you were born a serf of Questron. Because you are only a serf, you have never travelled farther than nearby Geraldtown. Luckily, you keep your ears open. You hear of other villages and outposts, great cathedrals and terrible monsters. You know rumours of a mighty castle with an army of guards, a fortune of treasure, and Mesron the great and kind wizard. A dark cloud hangs now over the Empire. It is rumoured that Mantor, the evil one, escaped the castle and fled to another world. When he returned, he brought a book of powerful magic and settled in a land known as the Land of Evil. From there, he uses his spells to rule armies of evil monsters. It is rumoured that these monsters are destroying cities. It is said that a serf will rise from humble beginnings to destroy Mantor in battle. Perhaps only stories from frightened peasants, and yet a challenge that compels you to accept. You have sold your oxen for 57 gold. You have rawhide armour and food for 3 months' travel. To fight, you need a weapon. Maybe you should enter Geraldtown. Maybe I should. Atari A to Z's adventures begin, and here we have the first of many disc swaps in this game, so I'll be back in just a moment. Disc swapped, let's go. So basically there are 4 discs for this game. There's the boot disc, which has your character save data on it. There is disc 1, which has the overworld map on it. There is disc 2, which seems to have towns and stuff on it, and I assume that disc 3 has dungeons on it. So the way this game works, most of the initial stage of the game, you're wandering around the overworld map and going into towns and cathedrals, all of which unfolds from a top-down perspective. And later in the game, once you enter the land of evil, there's some first-person dungeons to deal with as well. Irish Stalker. Hits 1, damage 2. Shall we fight him, or should we go and try and get a weapon first? Well, I've only got 15 gold. I'm sure it said that we had 57 gold. I don't know. Anyway, let's try and get away from him. And let's enter Geraldtown. Enter Geraldtown. Yes. Insert disc 2 and press return. I'll be right back. Yeah, so there's a fair amount of disc swapping in this game. So if you're running on an emulator, bear in mind you'll need all 4 disc images to hand in order to play this game. And if you're playing on real hardware, then you will need all the discs to hand. Now, as far as I can make out as well, it does not support multiple disc drives as well. So you can't take the alternate reality approach and just load up your disc drives with all the possible data required to play a game. This only runs from 1 disc drive, so that disc swapping is unfortunately essential. Right, we're now in a town, so we can wander around this town. We can talk to the guards by pressing S for speak. I'll help you, but most guards aren't so nice. And then it takes a moment to load a rumour. Many wandering creatures are friendly. Thanks. What about you? The guard laughs. I've lost 5 gold since entering this town. I wonder how that happened. Right, let's chat with this guy here. Let's get ourselves a weapon. Buy or sell? Buy! Sling for 8. Excellent. Right. Now, you have to... That was not the button I intended to press. Wear armour. I'm already wearing... Hold on. Inventory. We've got a sling. And we've got rawhide armour, which we are wearing. Oh, what's the button for readying a weapon? I guess we're just going to have to go through all the keys, so bear with me a moment. Q, no. End, outside only. End is saves your game and lets you continue later. R is for rob. T is for take. U is for unlock. I is for inventory. O is for operate. That's use the thing you've got in your hand. P is just pass the turn and let other stuff happen. A for arm. There we are. Which weapon? Sling. And you just type the first couple of letters of the weapon and that will put that in your hand. Right, we're now armed with a sling. And we've got 2 gold, which is not going to do us much good at the minute. So let's go back out into the wild and let's go fight some stuff. Insert disc 1 and press return. Yeah, I mean, it's a slight pain having to swap discs all the time, but, I mean, you have to bear in mind how early this was, and the amount of data that it was dealing with here. This was pretty common practice for games of this size. Like Alternate Reality, which I mentioned earlier, had again, it was basically 4 discs. It was two double-sided discs. And as you progressed through that game, you would have to insert disc 1, side 2, insert disc 2, side 1, and so on. Right, let's wander around and see what we can see around here. Can we go... Oh, an unknown creature is approaching you. Can we walk on the red stuff? No, because those are mountains. Oh, attacked by 1 gorilla. Fight the gorilla! He's in for 8 damage. Hit him for 4. Come on, kill him. Your attack missed. Well, this is no good, is it? You'll notice we don't have a maximum hit points value in this. That's because this era of RPG, you tended to sort of just be able to keep adding hit points. And so an important part of powering up in the early game is basically chugging as many potions as you can to get your hit points up as far as possible. I think there is a cap based on like your stamina stat or something like that. But for the most part, it's about trying to find these potions and basically repeatedly healing yourself. Yay, I found 10 gold pieces. Right, so where do we go from here? Oh, it's a cathedral over there. Attacked by Woods Ogre. Let's fight this. The sling's not an amazing weapon, unfortunately, but it's better than nothing. And if we can fight off a few enemies, we can get some gold, and that'll let us get some better weaponry. Eventually, this will hopefully give us an idea of roughly how strong all these enemies are as well. Enemy hit by blow of 5. Death! Ooh, 17 gold pieces for that. I'm rich, I tell you. Right, let's have a look in this cathedral and see what we can find here. Enter the Swamp Cathedral. I most certainly will. Oh, the cathedrals are actually on the on disc 1, which is nice. So the cathedrals, I believe, you go into and there's various challenges you have to do that will permanently increase your stats. So they're well worth visiting. And you can also buy holy water in them, I think, which is one of the main ways that you get those hit points that you need. So let's have a look around. If you be a sinner, go no further. I did try to rob the merchants, so I guess that counts as being a sinner. Who are you? Hello, are you a priest? Speak. Please give a donation. Nothing. That is not enough. You remain a sinner. Oh, okay. Okay, so you have to give them enough money for them to consider you not a sinner. And then you can go in here, presumably. If ye still be a sinner, then ye be doomed. A voice invades your being. You are not worthy to be here. Okay. You can't do it. Have I fucked this up already? I think I've made a mess of this. Kill yourself. Yes, you have decided to kill yourself. It did give me warning, to be fair. So it's my own fault. Now, fortunately, in this game, death is not the end. You died. Mesron's magic gives you another chance. So this respawns you somewhere, and you also lose some stuff, I think. I think you might lose your money. Actually, I've ended up better off than I was before. I've lost my armour and my weapon, though. So I should probably try and make it to a town. And arm myself up again. Uh-oh. When is loading? More map. Okay. Into Gambler's Grotto. Sure. Insert disc 2 and press return. Be right back. So, yeah, as I say, death is not the end in this game. You lose some stuff. In the early game, that's not necessarily a huge problem. But as you progress, obviously you want to put yourself in a situation where you hold on to as much of your stuff as possible. Speak! What have you got? The sword and shield shop. Oh, it's more expensive here. I can afford a whip, though. Do I want a whip? Maybe I do want a whip. I'll take a whip. I've purchased one whip. Alright, arm myself with a whip. Now, does anybody sell armor here? Is the question. That guy in the middle, I know, he runs like a gambling game. That's the edge of town. Oh, what's this? Rawhide. Oh, 32. Bollocks. That's expensive. Oh, well, I guess there is only one thing for it. Well, there's multiple things for it. Maybe we can gamble our way to enough money. Play roulette. Yes. The Lucky Gambler Roulette. Pick a lucky number. It returns 20 times bet. Oh, I don't know. 16. Enter amount. 5. Even or odd? Even? No, odd, because 16 is even. Cover my bases. Odd? You won! 5 gold pieces. Bet another 5 gold. Sure, why not? How about... Let's go odd again. Wow, I'm amazing at this. Even or odd? Even. Yes. Yeah, once more. Even. Nice. I think I can afford the armor now. Press return to quit. Count your winnings. I believe if you play the gambling games too much and win too much, then the guards get suspicious and try and kill you. So you have to be a bit careful doing that. But yeah, there's lots of interesting stuff going on in this game. It's obviously very, very abstract and requires fairly substantial use of the imagination, as most of these early RPGs did. But there's definitely some fun stuff going on here. That I was always very intimidated by this sort of game when I was growing up. I always thought they were much too complicated for me when I was a kid, so I never really explored them back in the day. But having a good familiarity with how RPGs work today, having come to them through the consoles and subsequently explored video games in more detail, in general, yeah, I've really come to appreciate a lot of this old stuff. And while I'm not sure I agree with the principle of sort of copyrighting game mechanics and structure and that sort of thing, I can see why Richard Garriott would have got a bit funny about this, because the way this game works is very, very similar to the first Ultima. The first Ultima got you into 3D dungeons a lot quicker than this one does. This game does have 3D first-person perspective, tile-based dungeon crawling, but it's not until sort of the second half of the game, really. So once you get into the land of evil, and you're trying to track down the big bad of the game, that's when you start getting dungeons. So for the most part, this first section of the game is exploring the overworld map. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, it's exploring the overworld map. It's getting gold. It's keeping your food supplies topped up. And trying not to die, basically. So I think basically what we need to do is we need to grind a bit until we can go to one of those cathedrals, donate enough money to be considered not a sinner, and take it from there. I'm not 100% sure where to go, because when you die, it dumps you in that sort of near that. Attacked by one dirt weird. Fight the dirt weird with my whip. Yeah, it dumps you near that Gambler's Grotto location, and I don't really know where that is in the grand scheme of the overall map. Oh, he's tough. Not tough enough. Oh, just let me move. This is the old school RPG experience. Combat every step. Yeah, we're building up a nice little fortune by doing this. And in early games like this, it's tempting to just sort of want to run away from fights and just try and make some progress. But what you have to bear in mind is that these games are very often designed around doing a lot of fighting. That was the main thing that you did in the game that took up a lot of the time. So, yeah, so you're not really doing yourself any favours if you run away from everything. Especially in the early game where you really need that money to be able to achieve things. Right, now one thing I do know is that the cathedral we were at before and the town we started in, they're sort of up in the northwest of the map, I think. So if we try and head in that direction, that should hopefully get us back to where we started, and we can try that cathedral again. Because at this rate, we'll have enough money to sort of be able to make a fairly substantial donation. I think I remember reading that it was about 150 you need to donate. Enter Lagoon. Let's not, just for the minute. A flesh feeler. I'm loving the monster names in this. Oh, he was pretty easy to beat. So, as far as I'm aware, there is no experience system in this. If we look at our inventory, we've got our stats there. They all start at 15. As far as I know, the only way to improve those is to go to the cathedrals and complete their various tasks. Actually fighting enemies out in the field, that just provides you with gold. Which, because you need to pay gold to the cathedral, is still important to character progression. but it's not a case of grinding for experience as you might do in some other games. This whip is a great weapon. He says, starting to miss every blow. Nice. Onward through the swamp, I guess that is. What is this place? On Gar Mine Flare. I love the icon for that thing. Look at it. Look at it. It's amazing. It's got tentacles everywhere. Right, what is this place? Lake Center. Not right now, thank you. Well, I'll tell you what, we are starting to get a little bit short on food. Maybe I should stock up a bit on that. There's 2 time again. Yeah, I'm having a pretty good time here. I've not, as I say, I've not explored a lot of these very early RPGs in a lot of detail before. On Atari A to Z, we took a short look at Ultima 2 a while back. And mechanically, this is actually quite similar to what we saw in that one. But this is kind of impressive when you consider this is actually written in BASIC. So you have to run it using BASIC or having the BASIC cartridge installed in your computer before you can actually play it. But for some reason that wasn't all that uncommon for role-playing games. If you remember when we looked at Temple of Apshai, the original release of Temple of Apshai on Atari A was also written in BASIC. Play roulette. I'm good for now. What have you got to offer? Lake Transit. A Wham Lammer for 171. I'm good. I'm good. I guess that takes you somewhere. Called Wham Lammer. Speak. Discount supply. Food, water supplies. You may purchase travel packs of food and water. Each pack supplies nutrition for 1 day of normal travel on foot. How many do you wish? Let's have... So half a gold per day. Let's have 50 of them then. There we go. Oops. Alright. Now we'll continue on our way on disc 1. Now, if you're familiar with this game on other platforms, you might have noticed that the screen layout is a little bit different to on the Commodore 64 and possibly the Apple II version. This game started on Apple II, I think, and was then ported to various other places. The Commodore 64 version, from what I've seen, has a screen layout that's a bit more like the later Ultima games, where you have a sort of window in the top right of the screen and some commands down the left-hand side of the screen, and then a text window at the bottom. The reason the Atari version is laid out like this is presumably to do with the way graphics modes on the Atari work. We've talked a little bit before about display list interrupts and how that can have different graphics modes on different lines of the screen. Those different graphics modes had to apply to a whole line on the screen though. And so I don't believe there was a way that you could have like sort of half of the screen horizontally showing one graphics mode and the other half of the screen showing graphics. So what they did in this is they put all the text down the bottom in graphics 0 and then the stuff on the top was in one of the graphics modes. God, I've chomped through 30 days of that food already. We're getting plenty of money though. It's all good. Oh, there's a cathedral there. Oh, but it's... I can't reach it because there's water and I can't swim. A pit screamer. I have absolutely no idea where I am anymore. But we'll figure it out. Hit him. No, hit him. Ooh, 8 damage. That's not good. Whew. 30 gold pieces, I should think so after that. Rotweed! Everything over here seems remarkably tough. A mighty smack across the rotweed's face. Oh god, please go away. Please just leave me be. I'm just trying to go for a nice walk. And you're just, frankly, ruining my day. Oh, another town there. What's this one? Freetown. Time for a disc swap. Yeah, so one of the things you kind of have to get used to with these early RPGs is that they can feel a little bit directionless at times, because a lot of how you play them is just having to figure out what you're supposed to be doing, and that's like part of the point of them. But they don't give you very much in the way of sort of explicit guides on where you should be going or what you should be doing and that sort of thing. Most of that stuff would have been in the manual. There would have been some tips and stuff in the manual suggesting what you should do and where you should go. The handsome horsey. Horse or a whamlammer? Do I want a horse? Maybe I do want a horse. I'm going to buy a horse. You pick up your one horse outside town. Thanks. Now I got a horse. What is going on in here? Play double or nothing? No. Is that all there is here? No, there's some more stuff here. What have you got? Just, buddy, give me 7 gold. Sure. I'll look the other way one time. Okay, so I can do one mean thing. Not that I actually want to, but... Leatherworks. Rawhide. I have rawhide. I don't need rawhide. Who are you? I'll help you, but most guards aren't so nice. It is rumoured the world thinks little of a serf. You got that right. Ed's Pro Shop. Sling and whip. Whip. Food, water, supplies. Ah, right. So give me another 50 if you would. Thanks. Time to leave. Another disc swap time. And people complain these days if they have to get up and put a disc into their PlayStation once to play a game. You don't know how good you have it. Right, presumably, having the horse means I'll be able to move faster, which means I won't consume as much food. Hopefully. Maybe? Let's find out. Terrain too rugged. Phaser spider! Fight! That was a big hit on that phaser spider. Nice. Very nice indeed. Ooh. These enemy sprites are just the best. I absolutely love them. Getting a little low on hit points. Really need to get to one of those cathedrals and figure out what to do there, because I believe that is the main way that you heal yourself. And proceed through this mountain pass and see if that gets us somewhere useful. Attacked by one bear. Look at him, he's so fearsome. Grawr! Another village over there. Black Knight! I can take Black Knight. Especially if he's only going to do 1 damage to me. I can't hit Black Knight! That's 6 damage, that's better. Yeah. Suck it, Black Knight. Bloodhound Ghoul. Looks more like a tapeworm. Oh dear. Hit him. Oh. Nice. Well, we're doing nicely on the old money front now. I say, just getting a little bit lower on the hit points than I would prefer to be. I still have absolutely no idea where I am. There's a town. Flesh feeler, you don't scare me. Is this where I discovered that the world actually wraps around on itself and I found my way all the way back to where I started? No. Strangler Fiend! Hmm. "31 hit points is not really where I want to be. Ooh, 10 damage. Stop that. Only 16 gold pieces for that. That's disappointing. Dirt weird. No. I'm just gonna run for a bit. Leave me alone. Oh, there's a ship over there. I bet you can buy that for yourself at some point. But that also means we can't get over there. Oh no. Have I been here? Jailtown. That sounds like a cheery place. Let's visit Jailtown. Dismount first. Okay. D for dismount? Don't dismount here. Alright, fine. Dismount here. Yes! Swap discs! Yeah, it would be unfortunate if the only way to heal is through the cathedral stuff. But well, I guess we'll have to see about that. There may well be something in Jailtown that we can use. It doesn't sound like a terribly inviting place, though, does it? Right, what do you do? Play double or nothing? No. Thank you. The old battle shop. Rope and hooks. Sure. I think that lets you climb out of pits and stuff. I think that might actually be a weapon as well. And I believe that's more powerful than the whip. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Groceries! Supplies. I'm actually good on those for now. I'd like something to get healed with, though. Rawhide. It's cheaper here. Horse. I have a horse. Well, this is no good, is it? Time to swap discs and enter the wilderness and probably die. I will aim to reach that first cathedral again, but I suspect we're probably going to die before we get there. If we die, we'll call it a day there, I think. But I've pretty much figured out how this sort of works now. It's straightforward and fairly simple. In fact, a lot simpler than I assumed it was when I was growing up and way too intimidated to play any of these games. But it's enjoyable. It's good. It's good fun. Board the horse. Kill the bear? Oh no, take damage from bear. This might have been a mistake. Bear is not dead. I don't like this. Ow. Why aren't you dead? Oh. Tough bear. Is this shallow water? I think it might be shallow water. Attacked by one pitch. Oh, I've died! Well. That's that, I guess. Let's just see exactly what we lose when we die. So we had 220 gold. Back to 15 gold, 200 hit points, 68 food. And you lose... Oh, I've still got my armour. You lose your weapon, though. So yeah, that's a fairly significant setback. So I think that's probably as good a place as any to leave it, isn't it? So let's do just that. Anyway, that's Questron. Yeah, I think if you play that a bit more carefully than I do and actually bother to make a map as you're going around the place, there's some fun to be had there. I might return to that and investigate in a bit more detail at some point. Anyway, that's enough for today, though. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.